Hey everyone, how's it going today? My name is Zach Courier, and I am joined by Dr. Gerard Iru Fernando from the Psychiatric Wellness Center in Bakersfield, California. How are you doing today, doctor?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
Doing really good, really good. It's good to have you. Obviously, we've been chatting a little bit offline, and I want you just to have the chance to tell your story today of how you ended up in Bakersfield, coming from Boston, and what the last 3 years have been like at Psychiatric Wellness Center for you.
Yeah, it's been great. I had finished off my training over in Boston. So I did my residency and my addiction fellowship out in Boston. And I got this great opportunity to come here to Bakersfield. I'm not from California, but my wife is. And my mom lives in Bakersfield. So it was a great place to be close to family. And yeah, I've been working here for 3 years now. It's been really great. It's been really incredible because I think because we don't really have that many psychiatrists in Bakersfield. So there was a big need that needed to be filled. And especially my service as an addiction psychiatrist, which is really one of my passions. Having all that training over in Boston where the opioid epidemic is just terrible. It's a different scene out here. There's some opiate addiction, but there's a lot more methamphetamine is what I see. So it is a little bit different, but just having that knowledge, that wealth of knowledge that I was able to bring over has been really helpful as well.
Awesome, awesome. So what made you want to get into the mental health field? Did it start with kind of fascination over addiction, or something personal to you, or just kind of a great, a different career pick?
Yeah, so I think when I was, trying to get into medical school, I was doing a lot of science courses and stuff. But the thing that I actually found that I was really falling in love with was psychology courses, which I actually just took as an elective. I didn't think anything of it. And what I realized is that it just kind of fit my personality a lot. I just love talking to people, understanding their perspectives, understanding the struggles that they're going through, the wins that they're going through in their life, and how we all kind of come together as a society and try to live with each other. And this kind of question has been nonstop on my mind, I think, throughout my whole career, throughout medical school. And I think the thing that's really just getting me more and more into it, every day I get more passionate about it, is just seeing how many people are struggling out there, not only with addiction, but with mental health. And honestly, right now, the crisis that we're living through right now with COVID and all these protests, they actually just came out with a study. It's a study that they've been doing for about looking at happiness throughout the country. And we had a record low actually just be reported on. We had like 14% of Americans say that they're really happy. That's it, just 14%. So we were in multiple crises before COVID and these protests started happening. I mean, our suicide rate and our overdose rates are also sky high. And you add all this stress, all this isolation, all this anxiety, pain, uncertainty about the future. Everyone's feeling it right now. I think that everyone is feeling something, if not a lot of people are really struggling even more right now.
It's so brutal. Yeah, it's great that you bring that up, but man, it's just heartbreaking. 14%. I mean, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and 14% say that they're there.
Right.
It's so brutal. It's been a rough year, as you mentioned, between COVID, between the protests, some of the tragedies that have happened this year, right? What advice, if you can give us just a little bit of tangible, put your psychology to the mat here, and just give some of the advice that you're handing out to your patients now, and you could share with the community.
Yeah, it's tough. It's really tough these days. For one thing, like I said, the isolation that has been happening because of COVID is really getting to people. And I can't stress this enough. If you're not really, the one thing with depression is that then you also self-isolate even more, right? So it's this vicious cycle that just keeps going. And my advice is to check up on your loved ones, check up on your friends, try to have more of those conversations, whether it's over the phone, maybe even just like this. Video chat is great. Just make sure you're still having that bond. I mean, we're such social individuals, and it's so important for us to feel like a society, even though right now it feels like, we're actually not allowed to, in a way, be a society. And so I think it's really important because at the same time, you have to, make sure and try your best not to get COVID. which is also extremely worrisome as well. But and the other thing that I would say, and it's something that I've personally, I'm actually speaking from personal experience, because when this whole thing happened, I found myself, getting more isolated, more down myself. And one thing that has been the biggest help for me is just getting more into creativity, trying to make something. And so me personally, I'm making my own video series right now and talking about either mental health or what's going on in society. And just putting yourself and creating something is just really helps, at least my sense of self and my mental health. And I think it really would help anybody. Just find that hobby, find that passion that maybe you weren't even having time to do before. Take this time to actually go after what it is that you've always wanted to do, and make the most of the time.
Absolutely. And remind me after this, I definitely want to include that link in your bio, and then we can link to those videos if that's something you're comfortable with sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, cool. Let's move on from the bad news. Let's talk about again, some of the things that you guys are offering with Psychiatric Wellness Center, some of the different modalities, what's on the horizon. Between the last 3 years and maybe the next 3 years, what you're looking forward to.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, like you said, there's a lot of bad news, but we actually have tons of good news coming in terms of psychiatry. I mean, I cannot, in a way, believe the timing of it all, because I think for about 10 years now, I've been strongly supporting things like ketamine. There's something on the horizon called MDMA-assisted psychotherapy, something else known as psilocybin. I'll talk about these in a little bit. But I've been watching this and donating to the nonprofit organization that's really been pushing all this research for about the last 10 years. And I've been so excited, and it's almost like seeing the finish line, but it's been about 10 years I've been just watching and waiting. And so these treatments are being fast-tracked by the FDA right now. And hopefully, especially in terms of MDMA-assisted psychotherapy and psilocybin, that'll be available by 2021. And so MDMA-assisted psychotherapy is extremely helpful for PTSD. The research and data is incredible. And the beautiful thing about it is that unlike other psychiatric medications, which we usually prescribe, which is usually a daily medication you have to take, MDMA-assisted psychotherapy, you have the therapy and then you're given MDMA just for like 1 or 2 sessions. And then that's really all you need. And like the results, even a year after, have been people having symptom-free or very few symptoms of PTSD, even a year later. Wow. So how incredible is that, right? A person no longer has to take a medication every day, or maybe they do to help with other things like anxiety or depression. But to know that we can at least even reduce one medication, or hopefully allow people to live their lives without needing to take a daily medication. Like you're talking about insurance companies, this is something that would save them a lot of money, if they were able to get on to be a little bit more forward thinking about it. Same with ketamine. Ketamine is the fastest anti-suicidal agent that we have. If we were to start giving that to people as soon as they get into an inpatient hospital stay, for example, we can reduce those hospital days greatly. Or maybe they don't even need to go into the hospital if we had that more in the outpatient setting. And so ketamine is actually, we have a ketamine clinic in our office as well. I don't do too much of it. It's a separate clinic, but it's great to have that resource so I can just refer people over to ketamine. Before I had to send people all the way to LA. So obviously pretty difficult because you need to go several times a week to get the treatments. And then the TMS is the other thing that we offer, transmagnetic stimulation. That is very helpful for depression, what we call treatment-resistant depression, meaning that, they might have gone through the gamut of different medications, or maybe they have a lot of side effects and they can't tolerate medications. So this is a medication-free type of service. What ends up happening is we find the right place in your brain just to put a magnetic pulse. And through the series of different treatments that you have over the few weeks, your depression gets better and better. I mean, if it responds to you. And the results, again, are just extraordinarily good. We have a lot of great results, a lot of people really happy. A lot of people have been begging me to start TMS again, because again, we had to close it down because of COVID.
Oh, geez.
So those are heartbreaking because they're just waiting to come back and start those treatments too. So it's been so helpful to have all these different ways of helping people.
That's really amazing. That's so exciting. Like you said, I feel like you've been waiting in the wings for a while for some of these things to come available. And, again, with this new decade and, maybe even with the bad news of this year, maybe the lifting of the stigma of going and seeking help for, to achieve a healthy mental mindset, right? I mean, more and more this will be available to more and more people, and it can really be a turning point for sure. So I think that's super exciting. I really appreciate your time today. Thanks for telling us your story. Obviously, super passionate about what is coming and the help that what will be available to people in the future and is starting to become available now, even at Psychiatric Wellness Center. Is there anything you want to leave us today? Just an afterthought of, maybe even something we would get in one of your videos today.
Yeah, no, I mean, just don't lose hope. It's like I said, it is totally natural to be feeling more down, more isolated. If you're having suicidal thoughts, I'm going to tell you that's actually fairly common from what I can tell. And so don't give up. Just know that there is hope, but reach out, find those individuals, find that purpose that you've been looking for. Stay around and stick with us because you are loved and you are needed in this world.
I love that. I really appreciate it. Thanks again so much for your time. You're doing amazing work out there, and we wish you all the best. Keep it up.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Take care now.
All right, see you.